Greetings, comic friends. Welcome to a double TGIW covering both this week's new comics and last week's new comics. So last week I didn't do a TGIW because, to be honest, there wasn't a lot to talk about. So last week I only had 3 books. It was very, very refreshing, especially after having a couple of big weeks. So I just you know what, I'll just wait to do it next week. I'm not sure what the next week's going to be. Is it going to be big? Is it going to be small? I don't know, but I didn't want to put up a 6-minute long video for just 3 books. But yeah. So the 3 books from last week, they were good. A little bit of everything. Have one Marvel, one DC, and one IDW. So first, Green Arrow number 2. This has been good. I don't read a lot of DC books. Green Arrow is one of my favorite DC characters. I don't know who this. I don't think she's on the cover. This younger blue-haired girl that he's hanging around with must have been introduced sometime else, either in some Green Arrow book that I didn't read, or I don't know, something. But yeah, they're out having adventures. Amanda Waller is up to nonsense, as per usual. There is a fun reveal at the end, or somebody shows up at the end that's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm enjoying that still so far. I've plan on keep going with it. Warlock Rebirth number 2. So Lady Warlock, because somebody demanded it. I don't know. So this new Warlock has come. Eve. I think it's called Eve. Eve Warlock, which makes sense. And Adam Warlock is just kind of resigned to yeah, she's better than me. I guess I'm no longer needed. I'm gonna get out of here, I suppose. This talks about where Eve kind of came from, and it's no big surprise. You can just kind of see the writing on the wall. So I'm not real sure where this is going as far as the story is concerned. Adam goes off. I don't want to say where because I can't remember if it was talked about last issue or if it was revealed this issue, and I don't like to give spoilers. But he goes off, I mean, to where you would expect him to go off, I suppose. I'll say that much. So we'll see where it's going. I'm sure at some point, the shoe's going to drop and she's going to end up being bad for some reason, and he's going to have to come back, is my guess. TMNT, Usagi Yojimbo, it's exactly what you wanted to be. It's exactly what you expected to be. It's the turtles popping up in Usagi's time, as they do from time to time, and it's fun. So this week there was a lot of good stuff. I think I have a total of 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books this week. They were actually all really solid, except for one, which I'm sure you know which ones that's going to be, and I'll talk about that one last. Star Trek Annual 2023 makes sense. That's what year it is. I do like these annuals. So there's in the main Star Trek series, there's the story arc going on. This takes place outside of all of that. It's just a nice little one-shot story. And it's really good. It's really interesting. It's thought-provoking, which is kind of what you want Star Trek to be. It wraps up. There's nothing sort of loose ends hanging around or whatever, which is kind of what you want in a one-shot story. I mean, there's not much more to say about it. It's just a really good Star Trek story taking place in the current Star Trek, the current crew of Star Trek in the main series on the Theseus. Red Goblin number 4. This actually I think came out last week or the week before, and my store was short ordered or didn't get it for some reason, so I just got it this week. So we have Normie with the symbiote, and Norman, understandably, is not happy about it, wants to separate them, makes the assumption that symbiote is evil and they need to be separated, which is fair. but Normie is very attached to it. I mean, emotionally attached as well as physically attached, I suppose, and kind of doesn't want to give it up. And Norman's sort of like they're all evil. They'll turn you bad and all this. And Normie brings up the saying, like, there's no bad dogs, only bad dog owners. It just needs to be trained and all this. So Norman wants to keep it. Normie wants to keep it. Norman wants it to be shed off. And this is in this issue he attempts to do that. Attempts to separate them. Let's see. What I think was the best book of the week by far, not because everything else was bad. Most everything else was great, but this was just so good, is Punisher number 12. This has been a great run. This is the end of this series, and it ended perfectly. It's just all the way through is such a great story, and not only do we get a great story, but with the way that this is wrapped up, something that I think is really affects Frank Castle as a character. They're always trying to do things to kind of spice up characters and change the status quo and everything. And we'll talk about Spider-Man, but it seems like keep trying to do that. They don't know what to do with Spider-Man. They keep trying to change stuff up, like, I'm going to separate him from Mary Jane, and Mary Jane's going to be off with somebody else, and this, that, and the other thing. They're trying to shake things up, but they're not doing it well. And I don't mind a shake-up every once in a while. That's fine, but sometimes, just give me some good stories. Leave things as they are for a while. Just give me some good stories with the character as they are. Punisher, I don't think, has gone through any sort of massive change in a long time. This does that, though. And I don't want to give away any spoilers if you haven't started reading it at all, if you're waiting for a trade, which I highly suggest doing. I don't want to give anything away. But this affects Frank Castle to the core of who he is and why he does what he does. It's very powerful. I think it wraps up perfectly. As you can guess, Punisher kind of gets captured, and there's this time where different heroes are coming in and talking. They're trying to, what do we do with Frank Castle? Like, not only is he just the Punisher, but he's been this hand of the beast and doing these awful things. What do we do with him? So they have different Avengers come in and interview him one-on-one to kind of get their gauge on how they want to vote or whatever. And there's some really good moments in there between him and those characters. It's just, Jason Aaron did an amazing job. I wasn't real sure on the whole, becoming involved with the Hand and all that, but he took a wild story idea and absolutely made it work, made it into one of the best Punisher stories that there's ever been, in my opinion. Deadpool number 7, I had to get the Momoko variant. It's a Spider-Verse variant, but I got it because it's Peach. So this continues to be fun. I really like the Deadpool in Love with is it Valerie? Is her name Valerie? I think it's Valerie. The other assassin, and she's trying to hide her relationship with Deadpool because the assassin group that she works for was trying to kill him and all this. They go on a date here, and things go awry. He has his giant symbiote dog princess. It's perfect Deadpool. It's what you want Deadpool to be. Venom Lethal Protector number 3. So we have Venom running around with Silver Sable, and there's this group, the Vindicators. The Vindicators, something with a V. I don't remember. But Venom joins up with her, and they end up having sort of common interests align. It's the Lethal Protector stuff. The flashbacks to the 90s Venom is absolutely fantastic. Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. So we have 2 stories here. One with Spinstress, who we've seen before, and the other with Sky Spider, who is new. I like the idea of Spinstress, where she's like this Disney princess. I mean, literally, she's a princess, but also is a spider person. It's a fun idea. I get what they're going for. It's just kind of obnoxious to read because most of the time they're speaking in song. And again, I get it. I appreciate what they're trying to do. It's interesting. It's I guess it's funny, but I don't know how many stories I need with her because it's kind of obnoxious to actually sit down and read it. The backup story, Sky Spider, is really, really good. I like that a lot more. It's a new character. I mean, I don't know if we'll see any more of him or anything like that, but it's a very interesting origin story for that spider person. Alien number two. This is only the second issue of this run of Alien, and it's one of my favorites. So I think I can recap the general idea of it last time. There are this small family, a man, a woman, and their daughter. They're at this station on basically this ice planet, and they're kind of mining for water because water is a shorthanded resource. And they come across, as they're digging in ice, they come across a face hugger, and they notify their company that they found it. And next thing they know, Wayland Yutani has bought the company that they work for and has come to investigate. So this is the part where they come to investigate. Well, they came during the last issue, but they're starting to investigate stuff more, and they start drilling. And sure enough, they open up a huge thing, and now xenomorphs. But it's an interesting premise, and it's been good so far. All right, so now Amazing Spider-Man 26. So there is a death in this issue, and most people probably know who it is, but in case you don't, again, I don't want to spoil anything. I managed to not have it be spoiled. I don't pay attention to comic news. I don't like to read solicits because it gives too much away before reading. And I wanted to. I had heard wind that someone is going to die in this issue, so I blacked out on any sort of news or anything like that. So it would be a surprise. I obviously had my suspicions. I I don't want to say who it was, but I don't understand. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. It doesn't make any sense as far as the story goes. It doesn't make any sense to kill that character, like, at all. I don't understand what is to be gained by killing that character. It just I'm completely baffled. I'm baffled as to why they would do that. And I understand, like, killing a character you don't think that they'd kill, but this is killing a character you don't think that they'd kill because there's no reason to. There, like, it makes no sense. Like, unless it got spoiled to you, you would never guess who gets killed in this because it makes literally no sense at all for any number of reasons. It's just I don't understand. I don't understand. It's and I wish I could talk about it a bit more. Maybe I'll do another video on it a little bit later. But I always want these videos to be non-spoiler in case someone hasn't read it yet and has also managed to avoid the spoilers. But I just let me know your general feelings in the comments on it. Try not to give it away, please, for others that might go down there and read things. But I'm just curious what your first reaction was, and what your reaction might be different based upon if you found out while reading it versus you found out because it got leaked or whatever, or someone told you. But reading through it, it's just it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And, Spider-Man hasn't been great for a while, which is obviously very distressing to me. I don't know if they did this to try to boost sales on it because maybe they're down. I don't know. I can't even begin to speculate why they did what they did. It's it's dumb. It's so dumb. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but it's real hard to talk about without actually talking about it. So I'll leave it there. So that is it for the last couple of weeks. 11 books over the last couple of weeks is pretty good. One week of 3 and another of 8. Pretty happy with that. And in all except for that one, everything was really, really good. But now that Punisher is finished, I again, whenever it comes out, I've praised it and said it was good. But especially now after it's over and seeing how it all wrapped up, it's an absolute must read for I think for anyone who's has any care about the character at all. So highly suggest it. But that's all. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on things that happened in the last couple of weeks. And, of course, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.